to plant my Tayberry. Now, a Tayberry is a hybrid berry, which basically means it's a cross between two different berries. You get quite a few of these. You'll get crossovers, and you can find them very, very easily now. A Tayberry is a cross between a blackberry and a raspberry, and they're really, really lovely. They're nice and sweet, they're nice and juicy, and they are incredibly tasty. Now, I've got mine here. Here it is. Now, obviously at this time of year, they all go to sleep. They have a little bit of downtime, so they just look, if you go and buy one now, they will just look like a stick, like this. Don't worry, they are not dead, but I know it's always a bit worrying. But just wait very, very patiently, and early spring you'll start to see the little buds come up. But now is the best time, being early January, is the best time to get a load of these in, because that way they will get nice and settled in their new home in the soil, and they will be all ready for when they have to grow in the spring and in the summer and produce fruit. Now, also planting them at this time of year means that you don't have to water them quite so often, because it's not really hot outside. It's nice, and obviously unless of course you live in a really hot climate, but it's nice and cool outside. So once we put them in, then we'll give them a good water, and the weather should do the rest for us. Now, Tayberries are actually very good in cooler climates. Just grow them exactly the same way as you would a blackberry. I'm going to grow mine, they do best out in the open ground, and I'm going to grow mine at the back of this bed here, so that I'm going to put a structure up, or I'll put wires across so that there's something for it to cling on to, or I can attach it to, and it will make a lovely little sort of area and give us a little bit more privacy at the back of the garden. So it's very, very easy to plant them out in the garden. So let me show you how I do mine. So decide where you're going to plant it, and the first thing you need to do is just to remove any weeds that are in the soil, because the weeds will grow much quicker than the plant itself. They always do. Weeds always grow much quicker than the plants that you want to keep, and we don't want anything to stop our bush growing really well. Now, I'm going to dig a lovely big hole. Now, this Tayberry won't mind going in a little deeper than it is in its pot, but just make sure that you don't put it in any shallower. These will get quite large, so they'll most probably, well, they'll get as large as you let them. If you don't want them to get that big, then just keep them pruned. But I expect mine will most probably get to about 8 feet tall. I might only keep it to 6, because if I can't reach the top of it and harvest the fruit, then what's the point of having it quite so large? And it'll most probably get to about 8 to 10 feet wide. But again, if you've only got a little corner that you want it to go in, then you don't have to let it go quite so wide. So I've dug my hole, and to make sure that the hole's the right size, pop the pot in, and if it fits in just perfectly, then it's the right size. If the pot won't go in, make the hole a little bit bigger. So we need to take this out of its pot. So we very carefully turn it upside down, and we'll support the plant with our fingers. Give it a tap or a bash and a squeeze. There we go, it's coming out now. When they've been in here for a while, then they do get a little bit pot bound. Now, hopefully, let me bring this a bit closer so you can see. We've got some loads, absolutely loads of roots there. Some are nice and large, like this one here, and some of them are really quite tiny, but that's absolutely fine. That's exactly what we want. So before we put it in the hole, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loosen the base a little bit like this. And this will encourage the roots to then go out, because if you don't do that, then they have a tendency to just keep going round and round in a circle. So we will pop it in its new home, and then we will just fill in around it with the soil that we removed to make the hole. And as you can see, it's actually slightly deeper in the soil now than it was in the pot, which is absolutely fine. Make sure you firm it in well, because you want this to be nice and sturdy. And I'll put some wires up, most probably in the spring, and then when it starts to sort of grow up, I can kind of train it back so that it will come along the back fence and it won't stretch out too far. So that's my Tayberry in. So I will give it a good water and then I'll leave it to grow. So there's my Tayberry in its new home. As I say, I will give it a nice water, and then it won't grow a huge amount over the winter. In fact, I can't imagine it growing much at all. But what it will do over that time, whilst it's really, really cold outside, is it will settle and it will get used to its new home, so that by the time the spring comes, once we get the warmth back again, then its buds will come out and it will start growing really quite quickly. They do grow quite quickly. They'll grow, well, basically the same as a raspberry and a blackberry would. So I look forward to trying some of those fruits. And as I say, there are so many of these hybrid berries out there that you can find and just try. You don't have to buy a lot of them. Most of them are self-fertile, which means that you only need one plant anyway. This Tayberry is definitely self-fertile, but just check. Sometimes you might need to have 2 plants of a hybrid, but just check on the label or ask when you're going to go and buy one, and then whoever is there, hopefully they'll be able to tell you. But as I say, each one is different, so just double check. But there it is, and I will keep you updated with its progress and show you when it flowers and when the fruits come and when to harvest. Well, I hope you found that useful, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.